get to hang out and talk to each other, and that's what fishing's all about. A lot about camaraderie and getting to know who you're fishing against, and that's how we continue to police the sport and make it grow. So I wanted to bring back in-person briefings this year, but thank you guys for being here. Again, of course, this is the 2025 Mercury Bass Nation Qualifier presented by Lawrence at the James River. I hope everybody knows where we're at. You're here smiling bright. You know, it warmed up for us, so that was a good thing. We're nice and warm this week. But a lot of people make these events happen, and we can't do this without our wonderful host partners. And this week we got Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority and the Richmond Region Tourism. Give them a big round of applause. They what make us be able to come back to these awesome fisheries. And I mean, I've heard the James is fishing pretty good this week and pretty good leading up to this week. So hopefully we'll have a good tournament. Because I'll tell you what, I see a few faces that were out there at Eufaula, Oklahoma, and let me tell you, that was a grinder out there. I mean, one of the toughest tournaments I've ever seen. So hopefully we'll see a few more bags this week over 10 pounds, because they were very few and far between last week or 2 weeks ago. And then of course all of our Bassmaster sponsors, of course Mercury and Lawrence for 2025. Huge thanks to those partners coming on as our title sponsor for the nation and our presenting sponsor. Extremely excited to be with those brands and proud for them to represent the nation. And then all of our other sponsors, of course, Toyota, Progressive, Bass Pro Shops, Dakota Lithium, Humminbird, Minn Kota, Nitro, Power Pole, Ranger Boats, Rapala, Skeeter, Yamaha, and our supporting sponsors, Lawrence, AFCO, Daiwa, Garmin, Luz, Marathon, Triton Boats, and VMC. Again, these are the sponsors that put these events on and support you guys, so make sure you are supporting them as well. I'm not going to go over everything again. Everything I'm going over today was in the PowerPoint briefing. Make sure you review that thoroughly. I'll get to that in a minute. But takeoff 6:30 a.m., weigh-ins at 2:30 in the mornings. Obviously, it's a little bit tight getting in and getting put in over here, so make sure you guys get here early. We did have 125 boats in this event, so that is 13 spots to the Bass Nation Championship. So top 13 boaters, top 13 non-boaters will advance this week to the Bass Nation Championship. So in the mornings, make sure you guys are getting here plenty early. We got plenty of parking. Make sure you get your non-boaters. Preferably pick your non-boaters off-site. I don't think we're going to have any parking problems. But this restaurant parking over here, absolutely no parking. Absolutely no parking. That was in the PowerPoint briefing. But make sure you keep that area clear so their patrons can get to the restaurant. Yeah, so again, make sure you guys get here early. I'm not going to wait for you for takeoff. So if you're not in line when we call your number, we're not waiting on you to get in line. So again, just make sure you get in early. Again, so we want to go over tournament waters real quick because there's a lot of off limits for this fishery. You need to go look at that angler briefing. You all should have received it via email. If you didn't, you need to come see me as soon as this briefing's over. But tournament waters will be the James River and all rivers, canals, and creeks connecting to the James River. Only water open to all public fishing will be considered tournament waters. If you need, if it's not open to everyone, it is not tournament waters. Any waters closed to public fishing will be closed to the tournament's contestants. No locking, but you are allowed to fish up to the dam. 5 fish for the boaters, 3 fish for the non-boaters, 12 inches in length. 12 inches in length. Again, everybody's here, so I'm going to skip over the angler check-in reminders. Again, flight times, you will get your pairings as soon as this briefing is over. As soon as the briefing's over, we'll send you your pairings. Make sure you do not leave until you receive that text. It'll be a text message. It'll have your partner, your flight number, and everything like that, what time you check in the afternoon. Again, if you fished with us before, this is not going to be anything different than any of your other tournaments. Again, takeoff is going to be right here off of the dock. You're going to stage upriver, and we'll bring you through single file. We do a single file takeoff in the mornings. Single file by boat number, which you will receive via text. I'll call your boat number. You'll idle through. You will idle through the takeoff. Again, lights red and green in the front, white 360 in the rear. If your lights are not working in the morning, we'll pull you aside. You're not allowed to go out fishing for the day until your lights are working. Life jackets zipped and fastened. Kill switch attached. Live wells open and recirculating. As you come down the takeoff dock, we're going to check your lights first, and then we're going to check your live wells, and then we will check your check-in time. We'll say, hey, Joe Bob, what time you due in? You're going to tell us. I'm due in at whatever time your check-in time says. And then at that point, we'll be looking at, while we're asking you that, we're going to be checking for life jackets. Make sure your kill switch attached. Make sure you get a good 50 to 100 yards past the dock before you pull that kill switch. We will ask you to pull the kill switch, but make sure you do it plenty far past that dock. If you do it right there where we're asking you your boat number, it's going to stop everything up, and my goal is to get you guys out fishing as quick as possible. So make sure you guys go a really good distance. I mean, you're going to be like, man, are they still watching? Yeah, we're still watching. Make sure you pull it, hold it up where we can see it, slap it back in, and then you'll be good to roll for the day. But guys, if you pull it right there at the dock, it's going to really stall takeoff, and we do not want that. So make sure you get 50 to 100 yards past the end of the dock. 50 yards is further than you think. Again, so any questions on takeoff? We're good to go there? Perfect. Again, fishing license, Virginia is required. In some areas, you may need a saltwater if you're fishing that far downriver. Again, so now I'm to the off-limits section of the briefing. I'm not going to go over all the off-limits here. Of course, you all should have received the briefing. Again, make sure you pay really close attention to those off-limits areas. There's a good many of them here on the James River, and make sure you guys take those into account. In the afternoon, check-in will be on the same dock. It'll be the same place you take off from. So we'll have check-in right here on this T-dock. It'll be in the, again, same place. Let me make sure that's right. Yep. Check-in is in the same spot on the T-dock as where you take off in the mornings. When you check in, you may not trailer. This is not a trailer weigh-in. You have to weigh your fish before you put your boat on the trailer. You're going to tie up right here behind us. When you do tie up, make sure you use our weigh-in bags. You do not use your own weigh-in bags. We have a double bag system. You will come up, the bump tank will be, not the bump tank, the bag line will be right here behind the weigh-in trailer. You'll come up, you'll grab one of our bags, go back to your boat, load your fish up, go back to the bag line, leave the outer hard shell bag at the bag line, take the mesh bag and go to the bump tanks, and then we'll get you guys weighed. We should have volunteers to take your fish to the live release boats, but if we do not, you'll then take your fish to the release boat and then bring that bag right back to the bump line so that we can keep weigh-in flowing nice and smooth. Again, moving over to the briefing sheet, it's got your check-in times and everything like that. Couple quick rules to go over. Landing nets are allowed this year in the qualifiers. They still will not be allowed at Nation Championship, but in this event, you can use a net. Culling of dead bass is prohibited. Make sure the culling rules, we have to make an exception here in Virginia for the spotted bass. They don't want those released into the James River. So if you catch a spot in the Chickahominy and you cull the spot in the Chickahominy, no problem. If you want to cull that fish in the James River, you can't do that, so you need to cull it into either a plastic bag or the cooler in your boat. All right, so that's if you have any questions on that, please let me know. Again, that's per Virginia DNR right there. But if that fish expires before you cull it, you may not cull it. All right, so the culling rules still apply. Let's see here. Ties. Want to go over ties real quick. In case of a tie for first place weight in the boater division at the end of the tournament, there will be a sudden death fish off between competitors. All other ties, that's for first place in the boater division only, all other ties will be broken in the following order. Individual with the heaviest single day catch. If that's not broken, the next will be the second heaviest single day catch. Third is the individual with the largest number of legal live fish weighed during competition, and the final tiebreaker is the individual with the largest number of legal fish weighed, and then the next one, the final one, is number of largest legal live fish weighed. So again, that's 4 tiebreakers. They're on the briefing sheet. They're also in the rules, which I hope everyone has read thoroughly. If another competitor violates the rules, again, Bass Nation competitors are required to police themselves, guys. That is how we uphold the integrity of the field, the company, and the sponsors. That must always be a top priority. If an angler has any concern regarding their catch or knowledge of a possible violation by another competitor, they should report that to me immediately or immediately after weigh-in. Moving on down in the same portion of the briefing sheet, Except for serious rules violations as determined by Bass, any rule violation must be reported within 2 hours of final flight check-in on the day of the violation. If you break down during competition, that's always a popular question. On the briefing sheet, please review your options for what happens in a breakdown situation. I'm not going to read through all this. Hopefully everybody here can read, but you got several options there to get in. You can ride with another competitor. You can send your non-boater with your fish with another competitor. There's several options, but you need to run those through me. So in case of a breakdown situation, always call me. If it's a serious emergency, certainly call 911 first. In any other situation, reach out to me, and we will deem what is legal and not legal. Again, any information for receiving your next day's partner will be sent via text. It will be on your weigh slip, so we'll run the pairings. It'll show up on your weigh slip, but there may be changes between days 1 and 2. You know, some guys get the fish flu after day 1. So if that happens, we may have to make some adjustments to the pairings, so those will be texted to you. If you leave early, please just let me know. Again, after Thursday's weigh-in, the top 20 pros and top 20 co-anglers will be moving on to Championship Friday. At that point, you can only receive information from those 40 people. Anybody else not inside that top 20 cut, you can't receive information from those guys. If you do not make the cut, we will have your checks, we'll have your money for 21st through 40th on the boater side and 21st through 30th on the non-boater side at the conclusion of Thursday's weigh-in. If you want to hang around, if not, we will mail those to you. Again, Dale Compton, my cell phone number is on this briefing sheet. Make sure you write it down. Again, make sure you go over all the rules and understand those. Text track, we will be utilizing text track this week. Again, that is in the briefing if you need to know how to respond to that, but it's going to walk you right through it when we text that to you. We'll send the pairings and then we'll send text track. We really appreciate you guys if you use that. It makes us look good for the nation. It helps me get other cool things on the website and hopefully live coverage down the road. So the more you guys use text track, the more you guys are interacting with the website, the better it is for the nation. So we'd appreciate if you guys would do that. Again, all other social media, make sure you're hashtagging Bassmaster, hashtag Bassnation. I want you guys to share this tournament. Hope you enjoy this tournament and hope it's a great week out here for you on the James River. Again, we will not have a top 20 meeting after Thursday's weigh-in, so if you make the top 20, any information I need to tell you, I will text it to you via the text messaging system we have. Final weigh-in will be right here. Again, top 10% boaters and non-boaters will advance to the nation championship. That number is 13, so that's what you guys are shooting for outside. And then, of course, you're shooting for the top 20 and fishing here on the final day. If you have any questions, you guys can come up and see me at the end. But guys, thank you so much. Thank you for fishing with Bass. Really appreciate you guys being here. And let's have a great week at the James River, and hopefully I'll see some big bags. Thank you guys.